was there one specific team, one specific storyline that really caught your fancy?
Bob Nightingale's a daiquiri guy. My world is somehow different knowing that Bob Nightingale's a daiquiri guy. It feels better. Like the world, it healed a little bit knowing Bob Nightingale's a daiquiri guy. I'm all in on that. I love a good Fat Tuesday daiquiri. Seattle, to me, Seattle, 4 games over. They're 6 games back of Houston. Cal Raleigh has kind of just become the rallying spot for a team that, and Jake Hasan, as he's been filling in for as long as we've been doing Bet for the Cycle, knows the deck and I have been screaming about getting Seattle to where we have felt for a number of years now Seattle ought to be with the talent and the ability that team has. For them to kind of start showing glimpses of it, I'm really optimistic. Now, they're not first in the division because for whatever reason, the Houston Astros are just one of those 28 days later zombies that won't go down no matter how many times you head tap them. I don't get it. I don't know why the hell they won't go away, but I'm glad to see Seattle on the push. What I did find very interesting is the take on the NL Central that maybe it's not really a conference or a division full of great teams, but it's a division full of really good teams that are making it competitive. And because none of them are really breakout, it's kind of elevating the win total of everybody. And the NL Central may commandeer 1-2 extra wild card spots, which would potentially push San Diego out, potentially push San Francisco out, 2 teams that I do think are potentially World Series caliber baseball teams. I found that answer from Bob kind of interesting too.
All right, let's bring in another known daiquiri guy, right? YBYB Baseball Insider, Jake Hasan. Jake, I spoke for you there. I don't know if you're a daiquiri guy. I would assume that they're not low on the list, right? I would say they're pretty delicious. What do you think?
Do Miller High Lifes count as daiquiris?
Sure. It's the daiquiri
yes.
of the gods.
1,000 times yes.
Can I just interject and say that Jake drinks Malort, so I don't take any booze suggestions from him seriously?
It's true.
I don't even know where to take the conversation from here, but Seattle, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, please enlighten us.
Seattle, I think, is a team that's going to make the playoffs, and it's because Randy Arozarena has finally shown signs of life. Cal Raleigh is obviously going to finish second in the MVP voting. Julio Rodriguez is definitely still there, no doubt about that, but it's mostly that God-tier starting rotation. Like, once Bryce Miller gets healthy, once Logan Gilbert and George Kirby start to shake off the rust from their injured list stints, and Luis Castillo still as consistent as they come, it's the same old story with the Mariners. At least it started this way. They bravely answer the question, what happens when you have a God-tier rotation with an offense that is basically the 3 of us? Except now they have an actual offense to support those guys, and you're seeing what's happening. But to Rob's point, the Houston Astros, much like Thanos, run from it, dread it, destiny arrives all the same, and they're going to win the AL West. That's just what they do. That's just the Astros. Now, it does help that they have Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez, who are a great 1-2 punch, arguably one of the best, if not the best in the American League. And Jeremy Pena has been quietly, maybe one of the most underrated players in all of baseball this year, since they made him the leadoff man in that offense back in April. But and that's all to say, Yordan Alvarez still isn't even really healthy yet. He hasn't even begun to look like himself. So the Astros are still probably going to win that division and make another run to the ALCS. But I think if the Mariners can get in, they're one of those teams, much like the Diamondbacks from a few years ago, or even the Rangers, they could catch lightning in a bottle for sure.
What do you got, Rob?
No, I agree. See, this is why no matter what, Jake Hasan, I can't quit you, because you hype Malort, but then you turn around and you start working Marvel comic book movie references into your baseball takes, and that's why.
With that one too.
That's why I will always have a big old soft spot for the legendary Persian love machine, Jake Hasan. And spot on accurate, by the way. This has been the take about Seattle for a while. Like, what happens when you have a team that's working an ERA of 2.2 and can get anybody in the game out, but they can't score any runs, right? Like, this has been, and not to compare and contrast, but it's kind of Atlanta right now, right? Like, Chris Sale before the cracked rib was in the Cy Young mix, even coming back off the injury. How in the hell is Spencer Strider 2-6 when his last 3 times out, he's allowed 2 runs? Like, it just does not make sense. I propose, Jake Hasan, I think you and I need to get on the horn. Maybe we get Bob Nightingale to join us. I think that we should create an official stat for pitchers that give up 5 hits, 2 runs across 8 innings and get tagged with the L because the offense sucks. We call it the Strider, and we don't hold it against pitchers because that's been Seattle for a long time. That's Atlanta right now, and it's a damn shame. I'm with Bob. Either one of these two teams learns to consistently put the ball into play, and these two teams could be very good. They just refuse to do it. Everybody who's not Cal Raleigh stinks.
Yeah, that's the whole issue is that, oh, you're telling me Jorge Polanco wasn't going to hit 330 all year? No way. That's crazy. Who could have seen that coming? I think Randy Arozarena could still be, like, I will always be a Randy believer. I'll always be an Arozarena apologist. And it's started to show. He's got a 900 OPS over the last couple weeks, hit 2 home runs last night, obviously. But as far as Strider goes, I think if you want to name that stat the Strider, Paul Skeens is going to have a little something to say about that. But
call.
It seems like Skeens gave Strider the cheese touch because the Pirates can't stop winning games right now. So they're all good. But to answer the Braves question, they're dead. It's over. They're in the ground. Rob, I love you, but they are done in the ground, stone cold deceased.
Hal, I was chiseling their tombstone 3 weeks ago, and the Braves fans down here were like, Rob, you are, somebody called me a fear merchant for the Braves, a fear merchant, because I wouldn't stop petting. Buddy, I was chiseling their tombstone 3 weeks ago. Like, oh, well, Rob, the Mets came to town and we swept them. Yeah, in the middle of the Mets losing 13 of 15. You didn't beat the Mets because the Mets are you're better. You beat the Mets because the Mets wouldn't stop hitting themselves in their own groin with baseball bats. I'm not impressed. You swept the Mets, then what do you do? You go to Miami and you drop 2 out of the 3 and you got lucky to win the one that you took. Then you come back, you take 2 out of the 4 of them. That's great. Then what'd you do? You turn around, you had the Phillies come to your house at a point in time where the Phillies are slipping up, and what'd you do? You gave them 2 back and you got lucky to win the one that you did. The Braves are cooked. They're done. I'm dead serious when I say, Brian Snitker, thank you for the 2021 World Series. I'll never forget the parts that I remember, and I'll appreciate it for always. But you're done, bud. If I see that camera pan to the dugout and Snit looks like he's on the verge of a Corona-inspired siesta when the boys are struggling one more time, I'm going to lose my freaking minds, dude.
Skip Schumacher's coming to save you. You'll be fine.
All right, Jake.
I love you, Jake.
Tigers put Kerry Carpenter, excuse me. There is no Terry Carpenter. That person does not exist. Kerry Carpenter on the IL today. I asked Bob, again, July 1st, we all expected the Dodgers to have 50-plus wins, be in first place in Major League Baseball. Did not expect the Tigers to be on that lofty perch. Does that injury matter at all to you? And do you agree with Bob that the Tigers have staying power, not only at the top of the division, but maybe in the American League pennant race down the stretch?
I think the Carpenter injury hurts, but I think they'll do something about it. And you have the perfect manager to get you through the couple of weeks that you're going to be without Carpenter. And the thing is, like, Riley Green's the star of that team. Let's not make any bones about that. Like, Riley Green is the dude, and Torkelson and Baez, even though they've regressed a little bit too, they're still giving you enough production to get you through. And now, honestly, maybe the Carpenter thing is good for you because it happens at a time where you're at the top of the American League, arguably at the top of baseball, and now you're kind of motivated to make a move now as opposed to waiting 3 more weeks, get somebody in, be the first one at the door, and bring in somebody that is getting sold from, the White Sox or the Rangers or the Royals or whatever, what have you. Now the Tigers can be the first on the phone and get that done, and I think they needed that because otherwise they were going to sit on their hands. They still need a pitcher. I do think they have staying power, but you can't go into the postseason with Jack Flaherty as your 2. You can't. The guy has a 6 ERA on the road, a 4.61 overall. You know what he is at this point. Great, he gave the Dodgers some good innings, some solid innings, but he's not the reason they won the World Series. You saw what happened when you tried to patchwork it together behind Tariq Skubal last season, and you made a good run, but you ran out of gas. They need somebody else. I don't know who that's going to be. Maybe it's Gallen. Maybe it's Sandy Alcantara. There are options, but the Tigers definitely have staying power, especially if they are aggressive enough and know that they make the move that they know they need to.